What's going on, you guys? Coaster here, just talking about the Oakland A's as the season is about to begin. By the time you hear this, the season may have already begun. So the Oakland A's, we are back to baseball. It's been a long time, but it's crazy that opening day has begun, and it begins in March. I mean, it's really weird. That being said, the A's have gone through a lot this season and off season, really coming off a low. This has been an awful off season to say the least. First of all, Bruce Maxwell. This is a guy that got in trouble with the law. People think he's being set up or all that. No, there's evidence that he pretty much pulled a weapon out on a woman, and the A's are pretty much being tolerant of this because they said, oh, he hasn't been caught and all this. They're just letting the thing play out, and they're going to let him play. So, and say he's pretty much going to be one of the catchers. So that was one of the lows. The other one, many free agents turned down the A's. We're not talking about the stars. That's kind of expected, being outbid. But even the mediocre players turned down more money from the A's to play elsewhere. Okay, that comes to tell you. Maybe it has to do with California taxes. I wish that were the case, but no. Just nobody wants to play for the A's when you have the Coliseum as your stadium and all that unattractiveness and so on and so on. First of all, the other low this offseason was the stadium. Obviously, Dave Cable made all these verbal words that they wanted to get a stadium stuff announced by 2017 over and all that. They just pretty much made an announcement on Peralta College site and really never got permission in the first place. That's all it was, a very empty statement, and fool's gold. We knew that someone was going to block this from happening, and clearly someone in that Peralta Community College did that. So they were stuck with either the Howard Terminal or the Coliseum site, which, right now there's no plan. We don't know the future. They made an announcement about the Coliseum site. I don't know what Libby Schaff and those politicians are doing, but clearly they're not doing a good job keeping the A's. Right? If you want to put blame, you blame the politicians, not necessarily the people or the fans. Those people in charge, they've already, the Raiders are already going and so on. So, it's been an off season of lows. When you have free agents not signing, you have Bruce Maxwell getting in trouble, and then you have this whole stadium thing. And that's the problem. That's the distraction. We thought, get a stadium up, you build towards that team that has a new stadium, and you'll be a contender when that stadium opens. That was the supposed plan. Now, we don't know what the hell's happening. So, right now, the A's, on paper, have offense. This was a year of the home run last season. A lot of teams had a lot of home runs. I think it was an all-time high. So on and so on. The A's, I believe, were top 5 in home runs in the regular season. You have guys that can mash. It's weird to say that the A's have a lot of pop. I think this was their first since before the Moneyball era. I think the 90s was the last time they had this kind of pop. But terrible pitching. I mean, I'm not used to this. All right, my lifetime as an A's fan, I've seen mediocre teams at worst. I've seen teams that usually know how to pitch but have awful hitting. Now I'm seeing the opposite, where no pitching, all this firepower and hitting. You have Matt Olson and Matt Chapman. Those are the two guys the A's are focusing on. All right, they want to figure out their core 4 for the long run, and so on and so on. I think, of course, Franklin Barreto and other guys are developing. I think the offense is going to be fine. Catcher is the only position I'm not liking, because Bruce Maxwell, really, off the field aside, on the field, he's just a below-average player. There's nothing special about him. And then they go sign Jonathan Lucroy, who was washed up. Luckily, that's a low-risk 1-year deal, unlike a 3-year deal they gave to that other guy named Billy Butler. So they're not strapped. It's a low-risk signing. I'll take it. Lucroy can turn it around, potentially, and if he does, he'll get traded to another team and they'll get pieces. The outfield is all but set. You have Chris Davis, and then you have Fowler, who really came off a freak accident injury. That's the player they got for Sonny Gray. I mean, there was a lot of disappointment in the return the A's got back, but at the same time, it seems like these GMs played hardball and they gave a hard offer. So that was the best offer available. We're stuck with Mateo and Fowler and Cap. So who knows what goes on there. But this team, once again, they have pop, they have hitting, they have no starting pitching. Gossett in the rotation, that's laughable. Graveman, who knows what he can be. Sean Manaea, at best, to me, he's the number 3. He's nothing more than that. And then you have guys who already are lost for the year. You have Cotton, Tommy John surgery. And then the biggest news before I got home today, A.J. Puck getting Tommy John surgery. This was the guy that, the top first-round pick a couple of years ago. Some thought he was the best player in the draft, but he's getting Tommy John, and you could say every pitcher at this point gets Tommy John. So we won't see him for about 2 years, most likely. I thought we were going to see him develop and maybe get called up at the end of the year, but no. The starting pitching is a joke. All right, plain and simple. I cannot take this team seriously when your starting rotation is as bad as it is. I'm not looking forward to getting lit up. That's not going to be fun at all when Gossett is pitching or we see another guy out there just get destroyed. Triggs, I mean, he was okay when healthy. I didn't mind him. But the only thing we can say that's improved is the bullpen. As long as Casilla is not the closer. Goodness. I think Pagan will be all right. I think some of the pickups like Treenan from last year are going to be okay. Chris Hatcher, I'm not into him, but who knows? The bullpen on paper is going to be better. Buter, I'm not into him much either, but it's going to be at least above average. But the starting pitching is not there, and if you don't have starting pitching, you're not going to qualify for anything. You can't win games 9-8. You can get away with elite pitching and very minimal offense, but not vice versa. I really cannot stand bad pitching. So, yeah, when your rotation is this bad, it's going to be a bad year. How bad of a year, we don't know. The last September, it was kind of a smokescreen. When you play meaningless baseball, you're not going to fall for the tricks. But you want to see Matt Olson develop. You want to see Matt Chapman develop. But the two guys that I care about the most, maybe a little bit of Chad Pinder in there you can throw in. I do agree, by the way, with trading Ryan Healy. That was the right call. One-dimensional guy who's a DH. You can't have both he and Chris Davis at the same time. So where do the A's go from here? Well, some guys could be assets later. Some guys could be trade chips when the time comes. But long-term, we don't know what's going to happen to this team. I mean, stadium-wise, there's nothing locked up. They say they want the Coliseum site, but we don't know what the politicians are going to allow. We don't know what the hell's going to go on. None of us know. Just on paper, this A's team is a last-place team based on that pitching staff, and I'm going to be frustrated as hell. There's going to be plenty of things to look forward to. I hope to see progress, just development of some of these guys. I hope the A's can find some pitching. I wish they went out and signed a guy like Alex Cobb. I wish they could throw some money at him because the A's shed their payroll by quite a bit from last year. So we know they have the money. It's just a matter of do they want to spend the money. And as we know, they're investing in other things like the tree house, that clubhouse that took away some of those reserve seats and so on. Okay, so what? It's just a tree house, an extra place to drink. For what? When you lose? Is that what it's for? You drink more for those bad losses? Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the losing, but I do want to see progress from this team. That is what you hope for. And I want to hit the Vegas over. I don't know what the win and over-under is for this team, but that's the goal for this year, is hit the over. I think last year they were able to pull that off thanks to a good September. So, as we look at the rest of the division, I mean, the Astros are obviously favored. We know they're coming off the championship and so on. They got a nice foundation there. The Rangers, no bullpen. Who knows what they're doing? I'm not impressed. That's going to be a team struggling on paper. The Angels, battling mediocrity. A guy like Mike Trout prevents you from sucking, but they have battled mediocrity when you take him away from the team. There's just been nothing impressive, though they have that guy named Shohei Ohtani, who could be very intriguing. But once again, that's just a lot of talent, a guy who's very raw, has not seen major leagues. Who knows what's going to happen there. And then, of course, the Mariners. This team is coming off the longest playoff drought in MLB. Ichiro's rookie year in MLB 2001, he's back with the team, but this team has not made the playoffs since. So they're also in mediocrity, and King Felix came off a bad year. So, the Astros are favored. Everyone else is just either mediocre or they're bottom of the barrel. I don't see a playoff team outside of the Astros on paper. Of course, baseball's a weird sport. Anything can happen, right? That's the thing you hope for on paper. My issue is the A's, once again, they don't have any promising pitching as of right now. Like in 2012, when the A's did their sell-offs, and at least we knew they had some prospects and they had some future potentially, but obviously things turned around real fast and overnight. This team has no talent in the starting rotation. None. And until told otherwise, I'm not impressed. Just that rotation is going to be lit up. They're going to have to win games 9-7, and I'm not going to like that. So, who knows? Who knows? It's going to be a long year. You hope to be dead wrong on a lot of these things, but I do not have faith in this pitching rotation to do anything. That's what I see. You got to have an ace. You got to have some quality starters. And right now, the A's best starter is a number 3. To me, that's what Sean Manaea is. So, let me know what y'all think of this season. let's go Oakland. I want to enjoy this year, but at the same time, it's going to be tough to do that when you lose as much as you do. So let me know what y'all think about the A's. We'll see you guys later, and let's go Oakland.